What is TMS exactly in SAP? TMS is a
TMS
tool.
is actually
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
carry on.
SAP,
Okay.
uh, which moves the developer efforts to other systems.
Yeah, TMS is a tool through which we move developer efforts from development system to quality, quality to production. What is the need of moving developer efforts? So we maintain at least a two system landscape or three system landscape. Nobody will have only a single system landscape, right? So as an example, we are having three systems: development system, quality system, and production system. So if you want to do anything on ERP, is a ready-made business application which can be customizable as per organizational requirement. It is a ready-made software, template software. So we have to customize according to our business requirement. So for that, what we do, we take first development system. We do all the changes in development system, whatever you require for your business. So and you move that changes to quality. They we check the changes. If everything is fine, then we will move to production. To move this data from one system to another system, we use a mechanism called TMS. So TMS is a tool through which we move the data from one system to another system. So what is TMS exactly? So whenever I say database, a database is a logical one. I told you, right? So logical means it's not a physical one. Whatever you do in SAP, everything will be saved in your database only. Nothing will be there at presentation layer, nothing will be there at application layer. Everything will be saving in your database. So if you want to move the data from one database to development database to quality database. So for that, what we need to do, database is the entire thing is a logical one. Logical means not physical one. So first of all, we have to export the data from database level to application level, co-file data file. We convert that logical data into physical format. So it will generate co-file and data file. Then we copy that co-file data file to quality systems USR SAP trans co-file data file and we import into the database. Means database to application level, from application level to database. Like that we move the data from one database to another database. Why? It is a logical one. That is the reason we export the data. When we release a transport request, what happens actually? So that logical formatted data will be converted into physical files, two physical files, co-file and a data file. Then copy that co-file data from development systems USR SAP trans to quality systems USR SAP trans. Then we import into quality database. From there, we again copy that co-file data file to production systems USR SAP trans. There we will import the data into production system. So like that, we are moving the data from one system to another system. So this is a my screen is visible, guys. My
Yes,
TMS
sir.
screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we take three systems example here. This is my development system. Second one is quality system. Third one is production system. Development system is called as integration system. Quality system is called as consolidation system. Production system is called as delivery system. So these three are individual systems. To move something from development to quality, quality to production, if you want to transport something from Hyderabad to some Mumbai, what you need exactly? First, a transport route. You need a route, right, to do the transportation. So that is called as a transport route. The route drawn between one system to another system is called as transport route. If you draw the route between integration system to consolidation system, that route is called as consolidation route. The route drawn between consolidation system to delivery system is called as delivery route. So here you will get a question like, what is a transport route? The logical path drawn between the systems is called as transport route. The logical path drawn between the system. From this system to this system, we have drawn some route. From this system to this system, we drawn some route. That is called as a transport route. This transport route will tell you the flow of the transport request and role of the systems. Flow of the transport request means from where to where your transport request has to move. If it is a consolidation route, then integration system to consolidation system. If it is a delivery route, consolidation system to delivery system. Why we are calling it as integration system means all the integration, the development will happen in development system. That is the reason we are calling it as integration system. What is the meaning of consolidation system means? Consolidation means what? Merging. Merging. Here the data, whatever the programs you move from integration system to consolidation system will be tested, merged. That is the reason we are calling it as consolidation system. Finally, the delivery system is our production system. The route drawn between integration system to consolidation system is called as consolidation route. The route drawn between consolidation system to delivery system is called as delivery route. Okay, so this transport request will this transport route will tell you the flow of the transport request and role of each system. For example, if it is a consolidation route means in a left hand side we will have integration system, right hand side we will have a consolidation system. If it is a delivery route, the left hand side it will be consolidation system, right hand side it will be delivery system. So this is about your transport route. Here you will get a question like what is domain controller, what is transport route, what is transport layer. Transport route means logical path drawn between the systems are called as transport route, which will tell you the flow of the transport request and role of each systems. That is called as a transport route. Transport layer. Consolidation route needs two layers. Delivery route doesn't require any layer. Single layer is enough. Why two layers means? One is for standard objects. If you change any standard objects means whatever the software which is delivered from SAP, if you are doing some changes to that software, that will be travel from this route. The customizing Y or Z programs, whatever you created, that will travel from this route. For that reason, you need two layers for consolidation route. The standard layer name is SAP interview question, and the customized layer name is ZSID. What is your SID here? Dev. So this is ZDEV. This is called as transport layer. Here, that standard objects and customizing objects will be consolidated, merged, and tested. After that, you don't need any separate layers here. That is the reason delivery route doesn't have any transport layers. Only single route is enough. So transport route, transport layer, and the domain controller. So one of domain controller is, for example, these three are participating in TMS. So one of the system should act as a leader. That leader is called as a domain controller. Domain controller is one of the R3 system in domain, which acts as a leader for all the systems, and it holds a reference configuration information of TMS. A reference configuration information means, for example, if you are a leader of the class, you should have all pupils' names with you, right? The same way, for example, if it is a development is your domain controller, in this domain control development system will have all the TMS configuration, means what all the systems are participated in this TMS, which is consolidation route, what is delivery route, what is the this layer name, that layer name, everything. So all this TMS configuration information will be there with domain controller, and domain controller will share its transport directory as a common transport directory for all the systems. It is not mandatory. If you want to, you can share your transport directory as a common transport directory. So domain controller is one of the R3 system in domain. All are R3 systems only, right? SAP system means it is a R3 system. Domain controller is one of the R3 system in domain, which acts as a leader for all the systems. It holds reference configuration information of TMS, and it shares its transport directory as a common transport directory for all the systems. This is what about your domain controller. 3 questions covered: domain controller, transport route, transport layer. Is it fine with everyone? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Fine, bye.
Fine. Okay. The route drawn between integration system to consolidation system is called as consolidation route. The route drawn between consolidated system to delivery system is called as delivery route. This transport route will tell you flow of the transport request and role of each system. If it is a consolidation route, in the left hand side you will be having integration system, right side you will be having consolidation system. If it is a delivery route, left hand side you will be having consolidation system, right side you will be having delivery system. Okay. What is transport route? What is transport layer? The difference between SE09, SE10 and SE01. Anyone? SE09 for,
SE09 is a workbench organizer.
okay, SE10,
SE10 is a customizing organizer. SE01 is a transport organizer.
transport organizer. Actually, these three are same T codes. I'll hit the T codes. We'll see the difference between the T codes. See, SE09, SE10, SE01. All are same T codes. But if anybody asks you what is the difference between SE09, SE10 and SE01, SE09 for all the T codes you can see customize all the types of transport. How many types of transport requests we are having? 4 types: customizing request, workbench request, transport of copies, relocation. Remember these 4 types: customizing request, workbench request, transport of copies, relocation. What is the meaning of customizing request? Anyone? Customizing
If we
request.
change the client copy data, it comes under customizing request.
Okay.
Client specific data.
Okay.
If we do any changes in cross client customizing data, it comes under workbench request.
Okay.
And
fine.
even repository changes also comes under workbench request.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Good. So, see, we have different types of data in your database, right? Application data, user master data, client specific customizing data, cross client customizing data, repository data. If you do any changes to this client specific customizing data, means local settings, it will create a customizing request. If you do any changes to your cross client customizing data and repository data, means your programs, reports, screens, menu options, whatever SAP standard delivery things are there, right? If you do any changes to these 2 things, cross client customizing or repository data, it will be recorded by workbench organizer as a workbench request, SE09. If you do any changes in client specific customizing data, it will be recorded by customizing organizer as a customizing request, SE10. If you do any changes to application data, which type of transport request it will create?
No transport request.
No transport request. If you do any changes to user master data, which type of transport request it will
No
create?
transport request.
No. So user master data and application data don't generate a transport request. Application data means business data. User master data means user name, authorizations, their profiles, their predefined data, everything. So these 2 won't generate any transport request. Only these 3 things: client specific customizing data, cross client customizing data, repository data. If you do any changes to cross client customizing and repository, it will create workbench request. If you do any client specific customizing data changes, it will create customizing request. This is SE10. These 2, this bottom 2 are SE09. Is it fine with everyone? Any doubt here? So, okay, I'll tell you. So, when you configure TMS, first what you do before configuring TMS, first of all, you have to hit SE06 as a post installation activity. Standard installation and say perform post installation activities. Do you want to reinstall CTS? Yes. When I say this change transport organizer SE06 will have 3 things: customizing organizer, workbench organizer, and transport organizer SE09, SE10, SE01. These 3 functionalities will be activated. From this point onwards, whatever the changes you do in the system, it will be recorded as a transport request. If you do client specific changes, client specific customizing changes, it will be recorded by customizing organizer as a customizing request. If you do any cross client customizing changes and repository changes, it will be recorded by workbench organizer as a workbench request. Means global settings, local settings will create customizing request, global settings will create workbench request, and repository objects will create workbench request. If you have any doubt, please stop me. Okay. How to difference between, you got this right, SC09 for workbench organizer, SC10 for customizing organizer, SC01 for transport organizer. SC01 is for transport organizer, means to create a transport request, to rename a transport request, to release a transport request, you can use SC01. SC09 for workbench request, SC10 for customizing request, SC01 transport organizer for to create a transport request, to rename a transport request, to release a transport request, you can use that T code. That is the difference between SC09, SC10 and SC01. Co-file, data file and transport request naming convention. What is the co-file naming convention, transport request naming convention? Anyone? SID
K9.
SID K9
K9
9 lakh some
and
2.
9
lakh and some 2. This is a transport request naming convention, right? And co-file, when you release this transport request, what happens? Co-file, data file will be generated.
that starts with K for co-file.
Okay.
And for data file, it starts with R.
R. Good. Okay. What is the location of co-file? USR, SAP, trans, co-file, data file. Co-file starts with K and your request number, and data file starts with R and number. So what is this co-file and data file? Co-file contains controlling information. Important interview question. What is co-file? Co-file contains controlling information, means what type of transport request it is, and TP return codes, and to import this data to target database, what are the background jobs you need to run. Everything will be written in your co-file. This co-file size will be only 1 KB or 2 KB. This just controlling information. So data file contains actual data. For example, you write some program. That program will be here stored in, this is 10 MB. The related co-file will be only 1 KB. Means just information, controlling information will be there. Co-file starts with K, data file starts with R. Remember, co-file contains what type of transport request, whether it is a customizing request or workbench request, and the TP return codes. There are some return codes 0, 4, 8, 12. We'll discuss today. And to import this data into target database, some background jobs, some RDD jobs needs to be run. What all that RDD jobs? The entire list of RDD jobs, everything will be written in your co-file. Okay, how to configure a TMS? Okay, go with that class. Okay, what is domain controller? Yeah, what is a backup domain controller? You know what is domain controller, right? For example, your domain controller is your development system. Your development system is your domain controller. Out of these three systems, one system is my domain controller. So if anybody asks you what is your backup domain controller, means you can say quality or production. If your production is your domain controller, then say development or quality. Choose one as a backup domain controller. The meaning of backup domain controller is, for example, your production is your backup domain controller. If this production is down, where quality works as a domain controller. That is the meaning of backup domain controller. You can simply configure that a backup domain controller. In your HTML screen, there will be one option, backup domain controller. I'm not sure where is that option. I'll check. Some option will be there, backup domain controller. Just you have to mention that. So if your development is your domain controller, you can say quality or production as your backup domain controller. Okay. What is next question? What is transport group? What is transport group? So I told you, domain controller will share its transport directory as a common transport directory, right? For example, if your development is your domain controller, if development's USR SAP trans is shared between your quality and production, then this all comes under one transport group. The systems which comes under one transport group, one trans directory called as one transport group. So what is the use of this transport group? For example, if I release one transport request here, what happens? Co-file data file will be generated in my user SAP trans directory. So the same directory is shared between quality and production. So you need not to manually copy that co-file data file to quality systems user SAP trans and then again production systems user SAP trans. Why? Already this folder is shared between all these three systems. So you can reduce your work. If not, if every system is having its own trans directory, USR SAP trans separate for a development system, USR SAP trans separate for quality, separate for production system, then you can say we are having three transport groups here. Here only one transport group. Here we are having three transport groups. The systems which shares common transport directory comes under one transport group. Is it clear? Generally in organizations, what I have seen is for development and quality we will be having one transport group and production separate transport group. Why? Your production system should have more security. That is the reason we don't share production transport. We have separate transport group for production and separate transport group for development and means development and quality will share same common transport directory and production will have separate USR SAP trans directory in general. Guys, are you getting any confusion?
No, sir. Understanding.
Yeah. Transport request types, 4 types. One is customizing request, second one is workbench request, third one is transport of copies, fourth one is relocation. We'll discuss what is transport of copies and relocation. You know customizing request, you know workbench request, right? Customizing request means if you change any client specific customizing data, customizing request will be generated. It is recorded by customizing organizer. If you change any cross-client customizing or repository data, which will be recorded by workbench organizer as a workbench request. TP return codes 0, 4, 8 and 12. These are the RC codes. RC code. Some people will ask you as a what is the transport RC codes means return codes. When you import a transport request, it will give you the return code. If the return code is 0, that means it is successful. 4 means warning, 8 means errors, 12 means fatal error. Okay, if you got some mail from one customer to import a transport request, you imported a transport request. How you import a transport request, I will show you. You import a transport request, the return code is 0. Just take that screenshot and reply him. Your transport request is successfully imported. The return code is 0. Fine. If the return code is 4, that means warnings. You need not to worry about warnings. Still, you can put that screenshot to that customer. Okay, your transport request is imported. If you get a return code 8 means the problem with the transport request, the program which you are moving, the data which you are moving, that is having some problem, or the table in which you are importing the data. So that means it is ABAP related error, not a basis related problem. If you get a return code 8, so you have to, it will be imported successfully, but before importing into production, you have to inform that user. In quality, you imported the transport request, you got 8 return code. Don't import that into production immediately. Inform that user that I imported this transport request into quality, we got 8 return code. Please check from your end. Is there any problem from ABAP source? But if the return code is 12, that is a fatal error. That is error from basis technical point of view. The basis error means your TP is not working, your R3 trans is not working, your RDDMP DP job is not working, and your TR by TR job tables are stuck. That is basis related error, means a TMS configuration itself having problem, and someone deleted your TP profile, someone deleted your domain configuration file. Then you will get 12. 12 means fatal error, that is from your basis end. If you get 0, no worries. 4, no worries. 8 means error from your ABAP, the code level problem, not your basis issue. 12 means fatal error. The transport request won't be imported. Remember, these are TP return codes 0, 4, 8 and 12. slog, ulog, and alog. So in your log directory, so can anyone tell me this USR SAP trans directory? First explain me that trans directory, then we'll discuss all these things. Anyone?
It
USR
contains
SAP
cofile.
trans directory. USR SAP trans. Under that you will be having subdirectories like
Cofile.
bin,
Data file.
bin, buffer, cofile,
buffer,
data file, EP,
Buffer, cofile, data file.
EPS.
Log,
bin, buffer,
Log.
cofile,
backlog,
data file,
data file,
EPS,
EPS in,
log,
log,
SAP
SAP
names,
name,
log,
log,
temp.
Temp.
These are the important directories, right? So what we have in this bin directory? In bin directory you will be having two files. What are they?
Domain configuration file and TPE file.
One is
transport files.
domain
Dom-
configuration, domain.cfg file. So I told you your domain controller will share it, will have reference configuration information of your TMS. Means this file contains all your TMS configuration. Means what are the systems, your development system, quality system, production system, that SIDs and consultation route, delivery route, everything, all the routes, everything, the information will be there in your domain configuration file. The second one is TP profile. The naming convention is TP underscore
Domain underscore SID.
domain underscore SID dot PFL, PFL, TP profile. So how your TP, who is responsible for your transports? Two files are there. What are they? Two executable files.
TP.exe and
and
R3.exe.
R TP.exe and R3 trans.exe. These two files are responsible for your transports, right? How your TP should work will be written in your this TP profile. If this TP profile missing, someone deleted this TP profile, na, your TP.exe won't work. So your transports won't work. You will be getting which return code? If this file gone, which return code you will get?
12.
12. If this domain configuration file gone, which return code you will get? 12. TP.exe is not working. Which return code you will get? 12. R3 trans
12.
not working. 12. These are all
12.
basis related issues. So how your TP should behave? All your TP commands will be written in your this TP profile, and domain configuration file contains all your TMS configuration, reference configuration information. These two files are very important. You should not edit, you should not delete them. Remember this naming convention, domain.cfg and TP underscore domain underscore SID dot PFL, TP profile, domain configuration file. And buffer contains target system buffer. For example, if you release a transport request from development system, the next target system is what? Quality. It will be automatically added to quality systems buffer. And cofile. So when you release a transport request, two files will generate from database. From database you are moving the data, right? So in a database you are having some data. You want to move that data. Some change you have done. What happens? When transport request will be created. For example, Dave K some 9 lakh 2. You want to move this data from this database to your application level. So what happens if you release this transport request? Two files will be generated at application levels. USR SAP trans directory. USR SAP trans directory. Two files. What are they? Co-file. Second one is data file. That means from database level to application level, that logical files. Here the files are logical. That logical files will be converted into physical files. Now you copy this co-file data file to quality systems USR SAP trans and import into quality database. From there, production systems USR SAP trans, then import into that database. Means logical to physical, physical to logical, logical to physical, physical to logical. That is how we move the data from development system to quality, quality to production. From this database to that database. Database is a logical one, right? To move the data, we have to convert that logical formatted data into physical files in the form of co-file and data file. Co-file naming convention starts with K and data file naming convention starts with R. Remember this one. Important interview question. And EPS in. EPS in for, this is separate for your patches. Whenever you are applying the patches, applying patches is nothing but SAP is giving physical files you have to import into your logical database. In a backend, what happens actually, your TMS, TP and R3 transit import is happening, right? That is the reason we are putting that patches files into EPS in electronic parser service inbox. SAP names. SAP names is for the people who are associated with this transport. All that names, for example, Suman and Pavani, these two guys are responsible for this transport. That two people's name will be there, Suman and Pavani. Log, all your logs, your S log, U log, system log, user log, action log, all the logs, whatever the transport related logs you will be getting in your this log directory. And temp is for temporary execution area. At the time of importation, few background jobs need to be run. To execute that background jobs, you need some space, right? This temp directory. If your transport is running or not, how you check? Open your temp directory, some files will come and vanish. That means some action is going on. If your temp directory is not updating, that means your transport is stuck. Remember that. So if you got any problem in transport related issues, first go to your temp directory and check, is there anything, any files are coming and vanishing, and check in the log directory. You will be getting some information like S log, U log and A log. Is it fine with your USRSAP trans directory? The people will ask you, explain me transport directory. Bin, buffer, co-file, data file, EPS in, SAP names, log and temp. You have to explain all these things. Unconditional modes. Okay. I'll show you that unconditional modes. What is that unconditional modes? How to move TR between two landscapes? Did you got the question? How to move transport request between two landscapes? That means you're having some three system landscape: development system, quality and production. My screen is visible? Yeah. And another landscape: development system, quality and production. From here, one transport request is generated. Sir, for example, Dev K9 lakh 2. How to move this transport request to this? So this will be having some routes, right? Transport routes. We configured TMS for this landscape, like this. But do you have, okay, when you release the transport request from here, the next target system will be this, the next target system will be this. But how you move this transport request to this landscape? This is different landscape, right? This is different configuration. How you move that transport request? Is it possible to move transport request from one landscape to another landscape? Yes, just nothing. You release the transport request, co-file data file generated. Copy that co-file data file to this system's co-file data file folder and manually add this transport request, Dave K9 lakh 2. Go to STMS, other transport request, other request, add. Manually add this transport request number, then import. Simple. You just copy co-file data file from this co-file data file to this system's USRSAP trans and add the transport request to. If this system, automatically it will be added to that buffer, but this it won't add automatically. You have to add manually, explicitly, right? I'll show you how to add. Can you please re-log in so that I'll show you how to import a transport request. Then you will understand this concept. How to import a transport request. See, just go to stms underscore import. How to import a transport request? The T code is stms underscore import. My screen is visible, right? See.
Yeah.
Yeah. To import a transport request, stms underscore import. Go to extras, other request, add. If you are from different landscape, then use this option. If it is from your landscape, directly you will get that request there. If you go with imports, give the transport request number and say okay, that will be added. How to manually add a transport request? This extras, other request, add. If it is not from your landscape, if it is in your landscape, automatically it will be added to your queue. Just select that transport request and click on that single truck button. There are two truck buttons. That is single truck button. The next one is big truck button. To import a single transport request, this single truck button. To import multiple transport request, this big truck button. Now only we are importing single transport request, right? So go with this single truck button. You'll get one question like, if this single truck button is missing, what is the reason? I'll explain you later. Select the transport request and say import request. Now it will ask you for target system. Already that BSD is a target system. Target client, in which client you want to import. Give the client number. For example, in your quality system, you are having 3 clients. In which client you want to import the transport request? Give the transport request number. Okay. You can schedule a transport. You can say immediate or else a date and time. After event also you can schedule. See, now I want to do immediately. So I'm going with first option. Synchronous, asynchronous. We use asynchronous communication. Options are there. Third one. These are called as unconditional modes. Your import options. So leave import. So the person who gave you the transport request to import, they will tell you choose these options while you are importing. So import transport request again, leave for a later import. You can later import, you can overwrite originals, you can ignore all other things. You can choose any of these things which are mentioned in your mail. You should not decide. That person who is responsible for that transport, the owner of this transport request, will tell you which options you need to use before importing a transport request. Chalo. Generally we use first 4. Okay. Now your transport request is importing. So you are using that options. Yes. BSD system client 001. Yes. Is there any difficult to import a transport request? See that truck button, right hand side. There you will get a written code 04812. So is there any difficult to import a transport request? The owner released a transport request. Just you have to add to your buffer, select the transport request and select that single truck button and give the target client and say select options and say import. That's it. Is there any difficult to import a transport request? As a basis consultant, it is very easy to import a transport request. When you have a problem, if the transport request is running for so long, then you have to troubleshoot. That is your issue. If transport request is giving written code 12, that is the issue. If your transport request is giving 8 written code, that is the issue. But importing a transport request is a very simple thing. Explain transport directory, explain TP profile and domain configuration file. Yes, you know TP profile. What TP profile contains? How your TP should work, right? That TP underscore domain underscore sij.pfl, that is TP profile. Domain configuration file is domain.cfg. Where you find all these files? In your bin directory. USR SAP trans bin directory. How to do transports at OS level? Important interview questions. TP commands will be there. How you do transport at OS level? Anyone? Transport at OS level.
TP added to buffer.
ER number.
This
Add ER number.
TP add to buffer. So you are adding the transport request from GUI na? Now TP add to buffer space your transport request number space SID target CLNT and client number PF. Profile is equal to your transport profile address. TP import, then import, same like export also, same command, TP add to buffer, TP import, TP to export also same, TP export, TP export your transport request number profile is equal to this, your TP profile is there na, USR SAP SID, not this USR SAP SID, USR SAP trans, not this USR SAP. Where you will find this one? USR SAP trans, under that TP underscore domain underscore SID.pf. You have to give this command, TP add to buffer, TP export, TP import. First of all you have to export, then add to buffer, then you have to import. Remember this command, TP export first. When you say export, what happens? Co-file and data file generates. Then go to your target system and say TP add to buffer. That will be added to your target system. Then TP import, TP import, TP add to buffer, TP import, TP export. These are the transport commands at OS level. The syntax is TP add to buffer, TP import, TP export, transport request number, your SID, client number, profile is equal to your transport profile. This is your entire command. Okay. Important interview question. How to import transport request at OS level? TP add to buffer, transport request number, client number, TP profile. That's it. Naming convention for standard objects layer. Standard object layer naming convention is what? Two layers are there. Standard layer, customizing layer. Standard object layer is SAP. Customizing object layer is ZSID.
ZSID.
How to troubleshoot long running transport request? Okay, we'll discuss this later. And any other question? Yeah. Can I transport a transport request from production to development? What is the need of moving a transport request from production to development? Generally from development to quality, quality to production. Production is my final delivery system. Then what is the need of moving a transport request from the production to development system? So see, I'll give you the scenario. For example, suddenly today night, Modi said something about regarding your taxation. Immediately it has to affect from today midnight. So you don't have that much time to do change in your development and get the approvals to quality and import into quality, then check there and move to production. So you don't have that much time. From today midnight it is affecting. So what we do in these scenarios, in production system directly we do that change. We don't do in development and quality. In production client, do you have access to do any changes, standard object changes, repository object changes? Do you have anything? Can you do any changes in production?
No.
There lies another important interview question. How you open a client? How you open a client? So go to your system and say SE06. There is another option called system change option is there, right? Select that system change option. This will be not modifiable generally for your production client, and make it as a modifiable. Important interview question. How you open a client? What is the need of opening a client? Opening a client means opening a production client to do any changes. So in this scenario, you need some change in production immediately. You don't have that much time to create in development and test there and in quality to move to quality. You don't have that much time. Immediately you need some change in production. So go to your production system and go to SE06. SE06. SE06, when we use SE06 before creating TMS, before configuring TMS, there also we are having option of system change option and make it as not modifiable and say save. Then it will allow you to do changes in your production client. Immediately you do the changes after completion of your changes and change it to not modifiable and say save. Okay, this is how to open a client interview question answer. So we at that time it will create a transport request, right? If you do any changes in that production system, it will create a transport request. But you are having only three systems. From development, the next target system is quality. From quality, next target system is production. But if you create a transport request in production, what happens? Do it has any other next target system? No.
No.
So, but all your landscape should have equal transport request. All the changes should be there in three systems to maintain the consistency of your landscape. That is the reason these kind of scenarios, what we do, we create another virtual system here for production PR. I'll say PRS, another virtual system, and I'll create a new delivery route. Now if you create a transport request here, it will be automatically added to your next target system. Your co-file data file will be generated. Now take that co-file data file and come to your development system, copy that co-file data file, add that transport request here and import into development. Then copy that co-file data file to your quality system user recipe trans and add the transport request and import into quality. Now you will be having all the same changes in your development quality also. Now your landscape is consistent. For that reason we use this scenario. How to transport a transport request from production to development. What is the need of moving the data from production to development? Means if you do any changes suddenly in production, that same changes it has to affect in your development quality also later for maintaining the consistency of your entire landscape. For that reason we use this option. So what we do for production system, we add another virtual system next to production system by creating a delivery route, new delivery route, and we release a transport request there. Co-file data file will be generated, and we take copy that co-file data file to development system and add the transport request to development system and import into development system. Then copy that co-file data file to quality and import into quality. Now the same changes in my development, quality as well as production. Got the point? So from production, we without creating that virtual system, we cannot move the transport request. Why? There is no target system. Next target system is not there. Last system is delivery system, production system only. So how you move the transport request to development and quality means we have to create a virtual system. We have to create one delivery route, then release a transport request. Then it will create a co-file data file. Otherwise, what happens? It will create a local change request. If you don't have any target system, it will create a local change request. So it is never be the case. Remember, can we move the transport request from production to development? Yes or no? Yes. How you achieve that? Create a virtual system, create a delivery route, and then release a transport request. Then copy that co-file data file and add the transport request and import into development and quality. How to move transport request from one client to another client within the same system? See, what is the need of this scenario? For generally, what happens in our development system? How many clients you will be having? In development system, generally we are having one development client and another unit test client or sandbox client. When a developer creates a program, before moving into quality, he want to test himself without releasing a transport request. So what they do, they use SCC1T code to release to move the transport request within the same system. Okay, wait, I'll show you otherwise. Now I'm having my development system. This is my quality system. This is my production system. In development system, by default, I will be having how many clients? 000, 001, 066, and 100 is my development client. 100 is my development client, and 200 is my unit test client. In quality system, generally we will be having two clients. 300 is my quality client, and 400 is my training client. And production system, I will be having only one client, that is my production client. So this is my development system, quality system. Generally you will be having these many clients in your systems, production system. Along with your same, you will be having 000, 001, 066, and 500. You will be having 000, 001, 066, and 300 and 400. So now I created some developer created one program here, one TR here. That program created one TR. If you want to check before moving to quality, if you release the transport request to quality, you cannot do any changes. First, the transport request will be in modifiable state. Once it is released, the transport request state will be released. Once a transport request released, you cannot do any changes in that program. So before releasing a transport request, I want to check myself. So what I need to do, I need to move that transport request 1 to this client within the same system, transport request 1. Without releasing, you can move the transport request from one client to another client within the same system by using which T code? SCC1 T code. Remember this. Why? Before moving to quality, I want to check myself as a developer. If it is fine, then I'll release a transport request. Then it will go to 300 client, then to 500 client. Is it fine? How to move a transport request from one client to another client within the same system? The T code is SCC1. Remember that. The scenario is to do the self test, we do that thing. To do this, we use SCC1 T code. We can move the transport request without releasing within the same system. Generally, developers do this for unit testing, for self testing. To move a transport request from one client to another client, please follow the. I'll share this document, SCC1 T code. Provide the source client and transport request number and give the target client, then say yes. Same, just like a client copy. In SCC3, you can see the progress. Can I import a transport request from one landscape to another landscape? You have seen that. One development quality and production is there, another development quality and production is there. How you move? So when you release from one system, it will automatically add to another system. But this is a next DE1, TE1, PE1 to DE2, TE2, PE2. So if you release here, it will be added to here. If you release here, it will be added to here. But it won't add to this system's landscape, right? So what we need to do, we have to copy that co-file data file to DE2 and add the transport request manually, add other requests, then import into DE2, then TE2, then PR2. Yes, we can move a transport request from one landscape to another landscape. We can move a transport request from production to development. Can we move the transport request from development to production directly? Yes, same thing. From development, you release a transport request. Just if you want to move to some other system, just nothing. Just to copy that, release the transport request, co-file data file generate, copy that co-file data file to your target system, and add the transport request manually and import it. That's it. Development to quality means automatically it will be added to the transport, that buffer. Can I move transport request from development to production? Yes, you can do. Can I move transport request from production to development? Yes, I can do. Can I move a transport request from one landscape to another landscape? Yes, I can do. Same procedure is same. Copy co-file data file, add the transport request manually, then move. You guys are there?
Yeah, no.
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When you create a co-file data file is not generated. When you release a transport request, co-file data file will generate, right? But co-file data file is not generated. What could be the reason? When you are creating a transport request, if you don't mention target system name, I'll show you. If you don't mention target system name, it won't create. It will create as a local change request. So it won't create a co-file and data file. Okay. For example, I want to create a transport request SC01. Okay. create one transport request, workbench request, create workbench request. Okay. See, if I don't mention this target system name here, the transport request will be local change request. So it won't to create a co-file and data file. If you want to create a co-file and data file, you have to give a target system. If you don't mention a target system now, your co-file data file will not generate. Remember that. The transport request will be saved as a local change request. See, check while creating a new request, the target system is selected. You have to assign target system SID there. Otherwise, it will become a local request. Local transport requests do not generate co-file and data file. And it is not transport. If you co-file data file not generated, how can you transport the transport request? Okay, that is that answer. If you lost co-file and data file accidentally, how you recover? You lost co-file and data file. What you do? Simple. Go to OS level and say TP export transport request number and profile. Again, it will create co-file and data file in your co-file data file folder. From OS level, you can use this command. By using this command, you can generate co-file and data. Already your transport request is released. Co-file data file someone accidentally deleted. You want to get the co-file data file again. Go to OS level, say TP export. Export is nothing but releasing a transport request. When you say release, what happens in a backend? It is nothing but exporting from database to application level. So use that command, you will get co-file and data file again. While configuring TMS, which user created? When you configure a TMS, now one user will be created. Which user?
TMS ADM.
TMS ADM user will be created. When you configure TMS, one user will be created. Which user will be created? TMS ADM user. Remember that. Important interview question. TMS ADM user will be created. And when you configure TMS, one RFC connection also creates. What is that?
SUP.
TMS SUP.
TMS SUP. This TMS ADM user will be created and a TMS SUP RFC connection created. Remember, when you configure TMS, one system user will be created. That username is TMS ADM. It is the administrator for your TMS. And when
will we log into TMS ADM?
No, we won't manually log in. It is not a dialog user, boss. It is a system user. We'll discuss tomorrow about user types. Internally, the system will call that user. Internal login will happen. You won't log in with the TMS ADM user and RFC users and ALE users, CUA users. No, there are system users. Only we log in with dialog users. Dialog user means who will log in by using SAP GUI, by giving user ID and password. So when you log in as a dialog user, it will check your password expiration and initial password. That is dialog user, which you log in from this SAP GUI. You are logging from SAP GUI. Oh, where is that? Yeah. If you are saying this type of logging, that is a dialog user. Remember, you give user ID and password. When you log in, the system will check whether your password is the initial password or password is expired. And you can do multiple logins also by using dialog user. But this TMS ADM is a system user. Internally, the system will call that.
We can't log in.
We can't log in manually by like a dialog user. So these two are important questions. Which user it will created when you configure TMS? TMS ADM user. When you configure TMS, some RFC connections will be created. Which RFC connection? TMS SUP. These two are important questions. TMS ADM is a user. TMS SUP is the RFC connection. Which RFC created for TMS? TMS SUP. Which, while configuring TMS, which user created? TMS ADM. How to import transport request into multiple clients at a time? So you can use a script, same TP add to buffer, give that one client 100, second client 200, third client 300. Then TP import, you can run the script, or else you can use extended transport tool. In TMS configuration, you can configure like that. You can achieve this by using that two methods. While transport request import, STMS underscore import screens truck button is missing. What could be the reason? I told you that truck button will miss, right? This error is due to options of target client to the request. If you don't mention a target system, what happens? If you don't mention target system, it will be created as a local change request. If you don't mention target client, that single truck button missing. Remember these two things. While creating a transport request, if you don't mention target system, for example, QEA is your target system. If you don't mention that target system, the change request will be local change request. Co-file data file will not generate. If you forgot to mention target client, then that single truck button will be missing. If single truck button missing means you didn't mention a target client. If co-file data file is not generated means you missed target system. And you will get how to disable import all button, means that multiple transport requests. So there is a parameter, you have to change that parameter. No import underscore all is equal to 0. You have to change that parameter value. If you change that parameter value, that big truck button will be disabled. Remember how to import transport request in a bulk. If you want to import multiple transport requests at a time, nothing, just to select from here to here and say import. That's it. In SC0 on screen, my screen is not visible. Okay, sorry. If you want to import bulk transport request, select all the transport requests, whatever you want to import, okay, and say import. It will ask you for target client, mention a target client and say import. That's it. See, 18 requests selected from this request to that request. Simple. How to disable import all, that big truck button. Log into domain controller, transaction STMS, system overview, double click on system. We'll do that if possible. Go to STMS, system overview, overview systems, domain, select your domain controller and say configuration, edit, go to, what is that option? Okay, select your system, display change, transport tool. Okay, transport tool, insert multiple lines. Okay, you have to disable this transport tool. Where the transport tool was? Oh yeah, transport tool, insert multiple lines, insert multiple lines. Okay, change, go to change option, insert multiple lines. Yeah, here you need to write that parameter. Which parameter? No transport underscore import parameter. No underscore import underscore all. You have to write that parameter and give the value 1 and say save. Okay. See how to disable import all. Import all means that big truck button. Simple. Go to STMS. Okay. Select system overview. So all the systems it will show. Go to your domain controller, go to change option, transport tool, insert new line, write that parameter no underscore import underscore all and give value 1 and say save. It will disable that big truck button, remember. So if single truck button is missing, that means you missed the target client. If co-file data file is not generated, that means you missed target system. If you want to disable multiple transport requests at a time, big truck button, then this option. Can I move a transport request from production to development? Yes. Can I move a transport request from one landscape to another landscape? Yes. Can I move a transport request directly from development to production? Yes. Everything is yes. Any questions?
No.
Almost we covered everything, right?
Yeah.
From transports. Yeah, this is enough. Can I wind up the session? Please go through this recording. I'll share this recording. Did I record it? Yes. I'll share this recording immediately. Please go through this recording and prepare well. All the best. Tomorrow we'll see some other topic, whatever you say. Almost 20 to 25 questions from TMS. You won't get a new question. If you prepare all these questions, that's enough for TMS. Is it fine?
Yeah. Fine.
Important questions are TP return codes, S-log, U-log, A-log, domain controller, backup domain controller, what is transport group, okay, which user created, which RFC created, single truck button is missing, how to disable big truck button, import all, and co-file data file is not generated, how to import from OS level, the TP commands at OS level commands, and what is transport group. Can I move transport request from one landscape to another landscape, means cross transport. Can I move transport request from production to development? Can I move transport request from development to production directly? Transport troubleshooting, yes, we missed that. So what is transport troubleshooting? If transport request is running for so long time, how you troubleshoot? Simple, go to your USR SAP trans temp directory. If it is updating, means some action is happening. If it is not updating anything, some files are coming and vanishing. If not, your transport is hang. And check that log directory. And check your TP is working or not. How you check your TP is working or not? Report, there is the report, SE38.
RSTP test.
RSTP test, there is a report. RSTP test, you have to run this report. If everything is a Nike symbol, then your TP is working fine, right? Everything is right. Your TP is working fine. And you have to check whether your domain configuration file and TP profiles are present in your USR SAP trans bin. And you have to check whether RDD AMPDP is scheduled or not in your client. Where you check? SM37 RDD AMPDP job has to run. So if that job is not scheduled, what you do? You need to schedule RDD new PP. That will trick that RDD AMPDP. And you have to check the two tables. What are the two tables? TR bat and TR job tables. TR bat table and TR job tables. You have to check these two tables. So tomorrow I'll explain all these things, okay? Transport troubleshooting. Only the transport troubleshooting is missing today. So we'll discuss tomorrow. No entries found in TR bat table. Huh?
Transport of copies.
Yeah, I'll explain that also. Transport of copies, transport troubleshooting, and relocation. These three things.
Okay.
Okay. Chalo, that's it for the day. Can I wind up the session? Yes or no?
Yeah, okay. No.
Chalo,
Yes, yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Bye bye.